here. Um, so good morning, Jessica. So I thought Tapas was a good one, a good theme for just like getting back to where you have to go, using your discipline and your focus to get there, sometimes forcing yourself to do things that you need to do. And that said, I want to do a few back bends just to kind of open up the heart and get some more energy and open up the shoulders. That's where a lot of the energy gets stuck, often just because of posture. And so, if you have any suggestions of what you'd like to do other than that, I will focus on other things as well. But I really want to try to get into a bigger back bend today, which will require some core work, some quadricep work, and opening up the shoulders and going from there. So, yeah, throw something into the chat box if you want something as well, if there's something specific that you feel you're needing desperately, other than just managing to get up this morning and do the work and fight the good fight, right? So, okay, looks like we're all good. So make sure you have two blocks. A blanket might be really helpful, but the two blocks are going to be helpful for sure. So let's start. All right, so we're going to come to the top of the mat and take your feet about hips distance apart. And just take a moment and hang out here for a moment. Just sit here or stand here in your body. Roll the shoulders onto your back, stretch your fingers toward the ground. Zip up your low belly, pull it in a little bit. Find that curve in the back, figure out how much of a curve you need in your back. And then lift your chin a little bit so the bottom of your chin is parallel to the ground. So you're lifting your head up a little bit more than you usually do probably. And then from here, take the arms up on the inhale. Interlace your fingers, lift up tall and stretch over to your right hand side. All right, come on up on the inhale, stretch over to the left hand side. And come up on the inhale and then release. Okay, so this is part of the practice of the 5 Tibetans. So what you're going to do is you're going to bend your knees a little bit, mainly so that when you swing from side to side, your knees don't get grumpy with you. And you're going to let your arms just kind of swing here, and you're going to swing back and forth side to side. So I'll just kind of change directions. But a little bit of a bend in the knees. Zip up the belly a little bit. And your arms might flap around. You're just going to let them follow you as you twist. This is really great for digestion, but it also warms up the core a little bit more as well. So do about 4 or 5 more seconds of this. All right, and then slow it down. And then we're going to come up to the top of the mat again if you change directions at all. Take the arms up on the inhale, look up. Exhale, fold. Hang out here for a bit. Inhale, lengthen your arm forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, relax. 2 more breaths. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, relax. 1 more. So we're going to do some sun salutations, but I want to show you a variation of sun salutation that's really workable as well. So as you inhale, you're going to sink into Utkatasana, take the arms up. And then as you exhale, swing your arms back. And you might straighten up the legs a little bit more on this one. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, swing back. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, swing back. You may start noticing, oh, there's a lot of tightness in the shoulders. Do a couple more of these. So sun salutations are not your bag. You just don't feel like doing them this morning. This is a great variation here, just getting the blood going. All right, so bring your hands to the ground and step back. Press forward, lift your chin, lower down halfway. Tops of the feet, inhale. Exhale, downward dog. Walk it out a little bit. Press one heel toward the ground and the other. Make sure your breath is strong. Look up, inhale, step forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, take it to the sky. And exhale, arms to the sides. All right, before we get moving into a bunch of sun salutations, just take a moment and notice how you feel now compared to the way you felt about 3 or 4 minutes ago. Do you feel warmer? Do you feel like you have a little more energy? All right, let's get moving. Take the arms up on the inhale, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step back. Press forward, lift your chin, lower down. Tops the feet, inhale, drop the shoulders down your back. Exhale, downward dog. Relax your neck. Press down between thumb and first finger, so you're pressing into the internal edges of your hands. And then roll your armpits toward each other so that you're externally rotating your upper arms. And then stretch the top of your head toward your fingers a little bit more. See if your neck feels nice and long here. And look up. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, take it to the sky. Exhale, arms to the sides. Let's do another sun A. Arms up, inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step back. Press forward, lift your chin, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Once you're in your down dog, transfer some weight to your right hand and grab any part of your right leg with your left hand. So right thigh, right calf, right ankle, and then gently pull and look under your right armpit. All right, and then left hand to the ground. Take your right hand and grab any part of your left leg, and then gently tug on that left leg and look under your left armpit. And release. Look up, inhale, step forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, take it to the sky. And exhale, arms to the sides. Take the arms up on the inhale, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step back. Press forward, lift your chin, lower down. Tops the feet, inhale. Exhale. Bless me. All right, so from here, again, relax the neck a little bit. Press down between thumb and first finger. Roll your armpits toward each other. And look up, inhale, step forward. Exhale, excuse me. Inhale, come up. And exhale, arms to the sides. Woo. All right. Sun salutation B, big toes together, heels slightly apart. Take the arms up on the inhale, sit back into Utkatasana. Drop the shoulders, pay attention to your arms. So a lot of us are pretty tight and our arms are in front of our ears here, in front of our faces. If that's the case, you can separate the arms and see if you can pull them back a little bit more in line with your ears. Pull the front ribs in. Zip up the low belly. You want to feel your back muscles here. So if you don't feel anything happening in your back, see if you can pull your shoulders down more and your thumbs back more. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step back. Press forward, lift your chin, lower down. Tops the feet, inhale. Exhale, downward dog. Left heel plants, right foot lunges. Warrior one on the inhale. Press into the outer edge of your back foot. Zip up your belly. Make sure your right knee's right over your ankle. Drop the shoulders. Look up toward the thumbs. See if you can squeeze your inner thighs together a little bit more as if you're squeezing a block between your thighs. And big exhale. Take the hands down to the ground. Step your right leg back. Press forward. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Left leg lunges. Take it up on the inhale. Press into the outer edge of your back foot. Zip up your belly. Pull the front ribs in. Drop your shoulders. See if you can squeeze toward the midline as if you're squeezing a block. And on your next exhale, hands down to the ground, step back. Press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. 5 breaths here. Child's pose is also great. Lift your armpits, roll your shoulders onto your back. Stretch the top of the head toward the fingers. And look up. Inhale, step forward. Big toes touching. Exhale, fold. Sink into Utkatasana, take the arms up. Exhale, straighten the legs. Arms to sides. Right, let's go for a twist on this next one. Take the arms up on the inhale, sit back. Exhale, twist and hook your left elbow somewhere to the outside of your right leg. If you want to go a little bit deeper and you feel like you have got enough of that left arm to the outside of the right leg, you can bring your left hand to the ground and take your right arm toward the sky. It does require that you drop your hips a little bit more. Remember to breathe. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, straighten up for a moment. And let's go for the other side. Exhale, sink down, twist to your left. Take that right arm to the outside of the left leg, look over your left shoulder. Maybe spread your wings. You have to drop the hips a little bit more. Don't forget to breathe. And inhale, take it all the way up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step back. Press forward, lift your chin, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Right leg lunges. Warrior 1. And then open it for warrior 2. So take a moment of warrior 2. You may have to readjust your feet a little bit so your right foot lines up with the heel or arch of your back foot. Drop your shoulders. Exhale, take the hands down the ground. Step your right leg back. Press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Left leg lunges. Take it up on the inhale. And then open up for warrior 2. So again, feet might need a little bit of a readjustment. Drop your shoulders. Look straight down your middle left finger. And pivot your hands down to the ground. Step your left leg back. Press forward. Lift your chin, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Right leg again. Lunge your right leg forward. Come up to warrior 1. Open up for warrior 2. Turn the palm of the right hand up toward the sky and come into exalted warrior. So that left leg is lifting up against your left hand. And your right knee is staying bent over the ankle. And exhale, take the hands down to the ground. Step your right leg back, press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Left leg lunges, big inhale. Exhale to warrior two. And then turn the palm of the left hand up toward the sky for exalted warrior. Look up toward your left hand. Right leg lifts up against the right hand. And big exhale, take the hands down the ground. Step your left leg back. Press forward, lower down. Big exhale. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Let's do it again. Right leg lunges forward. Big inhale coming up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, exalted warrior. Exhale, come through, right forearm to the right thigh. And then take the left thumb and point it down and bring the left hand behind your back. So starting with those shoulder openers. See if you can bring your left hand around and grab a piece of clothing or your inner right thigh. Zip up the belly. Pull the low belly into the low back. If you want to go a little deeper, you may have to put a little bit more space between the feet. And you might be able to bring your right hand to the ground to the inside of your right leg. You can also use a block. All right, exhale, unwind. Place your hands on the ground. Step back. Press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Left leg lunges. Inhale, take it up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, exalted warrior. Exhale, come through. Left forearm to the left thigh. Right thumb points down. Bring the hand around. See if you can grab a piece of clothing on the left side or your inner left thigh. And then again, if you want to put a little bit more space between the legs, you can bring your hand to the ground. Deep breaths. Zip up your low belly. And big exhale. Take the hands down the ground. Step your left leg back. Press forward. Lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Right leg lunges forward again. Big inhale. Warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, exalted warrior. Exhale, come through. Get that left arm behind your back again. And then we're going to open up for triangle. So start straightening up that front leg. Again, remember that low belly. Pull the low belly into your low back. And again, you may not want to be as low. You may want to be on a block or up on your shin. So just make sure you feel pretty comfortable about that right hand, wherever it is. Lengthen through your right side. All right, exhale, hands down to the ground. Let's do a side plank. Left hand, outer edge of your left foot. Take your right arm toward the sky. So you can always drop a shin, or you can always put your right foot on the ground if you need a little extra help. Claw the ground with your left hand. And if your wrist is not happy about this, you can always be on your forearm as well. All right, bring that right hand back to the ground, press back to down dog. Take a moment and walk it out. Let's go for the other side. Left leg lunges forward. Big inhale, take it up. Open up for warrior two. Inhale, exalted warrior. Exhale, come through. Left forearm to the left thigh. Right thumb down. See if you can grab your inner left thigh or a piece of clothing. And then once you get there, straighten up your front leg. Left hand is going to come somewhere to the shin or to a block. Or maybe if you have a little extra flexibility, hand to the ground. And then lengthen through your left side. Try not to collapse between your left hip and your left rib cage. Zip up the low belly. All right, let's go for a side plank. Bend that front knee, release the right hand. Step your left leg back. Come to your right hand or right forearm. Take your left arm toward the sky. And then you're going to find a way to balance here. Lift that bottom hip up into the top hip. If you're on the hand, claw the ground. Use your finger muscles. All right, left hand back to the ground. Push it down dog for a moment. Walk it out. Look up, inhale, step forward, big toes touching. Exhale, fold. Sink into Utkatasana, take the arms up and look up. Exhale, straighten the legs, arms to the sides. All right, one more of these. Take the arms up on the inhale, sit back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step back. Press forward, lower down. Taps the feet, inhale. Exhale, downward dog. Right leg lunges. Warrior one. Come on up on the inhale. Open up for warrior two. We're going to come into half moon. So left hand to the hip. Here's your block. Find your block and line it up with your pinky toe, probably about 18 inches in front. And then step into your right leg. Lift through your right side. Flex your left toes for a moment. Roll that left shoulder onto your back. Find your half moon. And then if it seems appropriate, bend your knee. See if you can grab the top of the foot and open up a little bit more into a little back bend. So it may just be a quadricep stretch. It may be a little bit more of a back bend. Whatever you can achieve is fine. All right, let that left leg go. Square up your hips to the ground. So keep the left leg lifted, but start moving toward a warrior three. So left leg is still relatively straight. Low belly zips up. You can keep your hands on your blocks. You can put a little bend in your right knee. And if you want to take your hands off your blocks, go for it. All right, we're going to twist, getting this right hip a little bit. So this block is going to go under your left shoulder. Right thumb in the right hip crease. Get your left leg a little bit straighter, and then gently twist. And what you'll notice is as you twist, your left leg either wants to kind of drop or bend. So either try to straighten it or try to keep it lifted. We're just creating some resistance so that this right hip has to work a little harder to stabilize. And if you're feeling this outer right hip, you're in good shape. That's exactly what you want to feel. You want to add a little bit extra in and get a little bit more stretch in the outer right hip. See if you can bend your left knee and grab your left foot with your right hand. So a little bit more shoulder opener, but it is definitely more challenging. All right, and then let that go, step back, and take a child's pose for just a second. Knees wide, few deep breaths. Just check in and see how things are changing. It's that tapas, the hard work, discipline, courage to change. All right, let's go for the other side. Find your downward dog. Lunge your left leg forward. Drop your back heel. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, exalted warrior. And then we're going to come through and find that half moon. So right hand to the hip. Find your block. Start coming forward into that left leg. Block will be under the left shoulder. Take 5 breaths here. If your balance feels good, look over your right shoulder. If your balance does not feel so stable, keep looking down on the ground. And then maybe turn this into Ardha Chandra Shavasana, bending your right knee, seeing if you can grab the top of your foot, get that right shoulder rolled onto your back a little bit more. Zip up your belly. All right, let's square up the hips. So slowly turn your right hip down toward the ground. Find your blocks if you think you would like to use them. And zip up the belly. Maybe take your hands off the blocks if that feels appropriate. All right, block under your right shoulder, left thumb into your left hip crease, pull it up and back. Get your right leg a little bit straighter or a little bit higher. Lengthen, twist to your left. If it seems appropriate to go a little bit deeper, see if you can bend your right knee, grab the back of your foot or top of your foot, and gently twist and breathe. All right, let it go. Step back, one more child's pose, knees wide. Take a few deep breaths. Check in. And look up at your hands, spread your fingers out wide. Find a downward dog. Relax your neck. Look up, inhale, step forward. Big toes touching. Exhale, fold. Utkatasana, sink down, take the arms up. Exhale, straighten the legs, arms to sides. All right, a couple sun salutation C's. Arms up on the inhale, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step your left leg back. Drop your back knee. All right, interlace your fingers behind your back. Drop your shoulders and look up. So a little back bend. And take the hands to the ground, step back. Lift your left leg toward the sky. Square up the hips. Look up, come forward, shoulders over the wrists. See if you can touch the back of your left arm with your left knee. And extend back behind you again. Try to touch your forehead with your knee. And extend back one more time. Exhale, cross over. Try to touch your right arm with your left knee. And then drop your right heel down so that the whole bottom of your right foot is on the floor. Take your left leg straight so the pinky edge of your left foot is on the floor. And then take your right arm toward the sky. So side plank, not a full-blown side plank yet, unless you want to put some more weight into that right leg, right foot, and see if you can lift your left leg up. Someday you grab your big toe. But you can also keep that foot on the ground. All right, right hand back down to the ground, step back, find a child's pose. One more big breath. Look up, find your downward dog, lift your left leg toward the sky. Big inhale, lunge it forward, and bring your arms to the inside of your left leg. So working a little bit on the groin, the quadriceps here. You may want to come deeper. So forearms maybe to the block. You can also bring your forearms to the ground. And then just pay attention to your inner left hip here. If your inner left hip feels like it's pinching a little bit, turn your left toes out to the left a little bit more. And then drag to the midline. Drag your left heel and your right knee toward each other. Chin up. Take about 2 more big breaths. All right, and then bring yourself to your hands. Lift your back knee up and step your right leg forward. Inhale, stretch your heart forward. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Inhale, come all the way to the sky. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step your right leg back. Drop your back knee. All right, we're opening up the shoulders again. This time go for the non-dominant grip. Put the other thumb and first finger on top. Zip up your low belly. Drop your shoulders, look up. And release. Hands down the ground. Step back. Lift your right leg toward the sky. All right, a little bit of belly crunching here. Look up, shoulders over the wrists. Bring your right knee toward the back of your right arm. Don't forget to breathe. Claw the ground. All right, extend back behind you, big inhale. Come forward again. Try to touch your forehead and your knee. And extend back again, big inhale. Try to touch the back of your left arm with your knee. All right, slowly drop your left heel to the ground so the foot is flat. Extend your right leg out. Take your left arm toward the sky. And this may be perfect. If this is a pretty big struggle, work on this. If you want to put more weight into your left foot and take your right leg up, try that. Don't forget to breathe. All right, and then step that right leg back. Do a child's pose. Take a moment. See what has changed. Might just be a little bit more sweaty. All right, and we're gonna go for our last lunge here. So find your downward dog. Lunge your right leg forward. Drop your back knee, and then possibly come down a little bit deeper. So hands can be on the ground, on the blocks. You can bring forearms to the blocks. Check in with that inner right hip. Turn it out a little bit if there's a pinch there. Drag to the midline. Pull that right heel and left knee toward each other. Zip up the low belly. Uddiyana Bandha. All right, and then slowly come out of this. Lift that back knee up. Step forward. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, arms to the sides. All right. One more. Arms up on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step your left leg back. Drop your back knee. So we do a series of twists here, which will help a lot with the oblique abdominals and the shoulders. So take that left arm up and stretch over to your right. You can play around a little bit with this. So I sometimes like to drop my hips more, get some more space between the right leg and the left leg, and then maybe reach down and touch a block or touch the ground. And we're going to turn this into a twist. So keep that nice big stretch happening through your left side and bring that left shoulder down to the outside of your right leg. Lift your belly up and pull your rib cage around to the right a little bit, and then bring your hands together. Hands might be on the right side of your chest. If they are, see if you can bring them into the center or toward the center, and then flip your back toes over and push into the ball of your back foot. So that way your knee's not digging into the ground. As you get more flexible in the hips, you can start lifting that knee up, pushing into the left foot more. And you can also go a little wider with the arms here. Bring your left hand to the ground and look over your right shoulder. All right, hands down to the ground, step back. Lift your left leg toward the sky. Open up the hip and bend the knee. And let's go into a flip dog or a wild thing. So you're gonna lift your right heel up high, your standing foot, turn your right toes to the left, bend your right leg a little bit, and that left leg's gonna come over, and you're gonna look at your left hand. Someday, your left hand comes to the ground. It can be a full back bend, but don't feel like you have to go there. All right, flip it back over again, and lunge that left leg forward. All right, coming up to a high lunge. I'm gonna try for warrior three. Take your weight into your left leg. All right, bring that leg back down. Open up for warrior two. Straighten up the front leg. Turn your left toes in so the outer edges of your feet are parallel to the short edges of your mat. Interlace the fingers of your hands behind your back. Lift your heart on the inhale and exhale, forward bend. All right, bend the knees, inhale, come on up. Bring your hands to your hips. Toe heel in a little bit, shorten up your stance. Turn to the front of your mat. So your left toes are gonna point to about 12 o'clock. Your right toes are gonna point to about 1 o'clock. And make sure you're on two separate tracks here so that you're not lined up with your right foot behind your left foot. Bring your hands behind your back. So you're either gonna grab your elbows or forearms, or if you can do reverse prayer position without your shoulders rolling forward. So I'll demonstrate real fast. Palms of the hands together. If you can do that without your shoulders rolling forward, go for it. But if you feel like your shoulders are dipping, then grab your elbows or forearms instead. Pull the front ribs in, zip up the belly, and then forward bend. So in a perfect world, your belly comes to your thigh. If you're a little higher than that, that's fine. If your belly comes to your thigh, then the next step is chest to the knee. And if the chest comes to the knee, then the next step is chin to the shin. As you do that, you're going to notice your shoulders want to roll forward. So it's really important to keep those shoulders rolled onto your back. All right, last little bit. Take your hands to the ground, turn your right toes forward. So all 10 toes are pointing forward now. If this is a little bit big for you, put a block under your right hand, right shoulder. And then you're going to bend this left knee over the left ankle, and then twist to your left and take your left arm toward the sky. So squeeze your inner thighs together, and then inhale, start straightening up your front leg. It doesn't have to go totally straight, but straighten up enough so you start feeling the outer hip and that T-band. And then exhale, bend it again. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. 3 more. Last one. All right, left hand back down and step your right leg forward. Inhale, stretch your heart forward. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach your heart forward. Exhale, right leg back. Drop your back knee. All right, we're gonna go for the side stretch. So again, take that right arm up and stretch over to your left. If you want to play around a little bit with this, you can drop your hips, put a little bit more space between the feet, and see if you can touch a block or touch the ground with your left hand. All right, turn this into a twist. Take your right arm to the outside of your left leg. Lift your rib cage up, twist it to the left a little bit more. Bring your hands together. See if you can get them toward the center of your heart or center of your chest. Flip your back toes over and push into your right foot so your right knee feels lighter on the ground, and eventually you'll start straightening that leg up a little bit more and lifting the knee up all the way. Again, you could go for a little extension here. All right, unwind, step back. Lift your right leg toward the sky. We're going to come into a high lunge. Look up, bring your right knee up into your chest and step it forward. Come up into your high lunge on the inhale. And then warrior three. Take your weight into your right leg. Any arms you want. Sometimes arms out to the sides is a little bit easier for balance. All right, come on down. Drop into warrior two. Straighten up the front leg. Turn the right toes forward. Interlace your fingers. Go for the non-dominant grip. Drop your shoulders. Lift your heart. Big inhale. Squeeze your inner thighs together, and then exhale, forward bend. So while you're here, keep trying to roll your shoulders onto your back. Make sure your weight is in the fronts of your heels and in your inner heels, so your weight is evenly distributed. Don't feel like your arms have to come up a lot. If you force your arms up, your shoulders are going to roll forward. So you still want to keep that nice broad stretch across the front of your shoulders and collarbones. All right, bend the knees, inhale, come on up. Bring your hands to your hips, toe heel in a little bit. Turn toward the front of your mat. So right toes point to 12 o'clock, left toes point to 11 o'clock. You're on two separate tracks. Take your hands behind your back. Excuse me. And then, again, you can also go for your reverse prayer position. Pull your front ribs in, zip up the belly. Lift up your heart, and then exhale, forward bend. So again, long spine here. If your forward bend seems pretty shallow, like maybe you're up here, that's okay. Press down through your back heel, press down through the ball of your front foot. And then as your hips loosen up, your belly will come to your thighs someday. Keep those shoulders on your back. Your chest will come to your knee someday. Your chin will come to your shin someday. Keep those shoulders on your back though. Keep broadening the collarbones. Push down through your back heel. All right, let's go for that little bit of extra in the hip here. So use your block if you'd like to. Turn all 10 toes forward. And then bend your right knee. And then twist to your right. Take your right arm toward the sky. And then inhale, straighten up your right leg a little bit. Exhale, bend it again. 4 more. Look up towards your right thumb. 2 more. All right, and then look down and step your left leg forward. And then let's hang for a moment. Find a comfortable distance between your feet. Grab your elbows and press your top forearm into your bottom forearm. All right, so we're going to skip the arm balance just because I want to make sure we get into some good back bends. So step back, find a child's pose for just a moment. Make this an active child's pose, so press forward with your fingertips into the mat. That'll push your hips back towards your heels a little bit more. All right, so this next posture, there are a couple different variations for this. It just really depends on your knees. So if you can sit on your heels comfortably, that's where the posture originates from. If you cannot sit that comfortably on your heels, maybe your knees are a little tight, you're sort of hovering above your heels, sit on a block. So you can sit on 1 block, 2 blocks, doesn't matter. Just get a little bit of height so that your knees aren't mad at you. So from here, again, sitting on your heels or sitting on a block or two, you're going to grab your hands behind your back or grab your elbows behind your back. So try to get that nice shoulder opener again. And then you're going to do a forward bend. So it doesn't seem that crazy, except for the fact that the more forward bend you go, the more your hips want to lift up. So what you want to try to do is keep your hips down and zip up your belly, like use more of your core here. So big inhales, big exhales, hang out. Keep broadening through the collarbones. Notice how your hips want to lift and see if you can zip up the belly and lift enough of your heart that your hips stay low. Okay, we're going to try another variation of this. So go ahead and come back, sit on your block or on your feet. Now, shake out your arms. We're going to go for interlacing the fingers. I would go for the non-dominant grip. So put the thumb and first finger on top that feel a little weird, like you're holding somebody else's hand. And then lift your heart. And then forward bend again. And you'll notice your hips want to lift up even more now. All right, come on out of it. Let's do a downward dog, which would be nice for those of you with grumpy knees. So come forward on your hands and knees, flip your toes over, walk it out. Let's go for a pigeon. So you can do pigeon on your back or pigeon on your front, your choice. Let's start with the right leg crossing over first. So cross the right leg in front. Find a nice deep breath here. Make sure your right knee is just slightly wider than your right shoulders. Tighten up your left thigh so your left knee is not digging in the ground. And I'll demonstrate pigeon on your back. Pigeon on your back if you've got tight knees, replacement knees, tight hips. This is great. And once this becomes pretty easy, sitting in this posture, getting this right hip to open up, then you go into a little bit deeper posture by lying on your back, grabbing the back of your thigh and pulling in, or drawing the front of your shin in. So it just depends on what you can reach. If you're on your back, you have to pay attention a little bit more to the curve in your back. Your low back tends to flatten against the ground. You want to make sure you're rolling your tailbone toward the ground so there's a little bubble of air under your low back. And if you're on pigeon on your front side, try to roll the tailbone toward the ceiling just a little bit more. Sometimes there's a tucking under that happens, a posterior tilt. You want to get that anterior tilt back into the pelvis. All right, let's add a little bit of back bend into this. So if you're on your front side, zip up the belly. Start walking yourself up a tiny bit. So you can walk up about halfway, keep the belly in. You might want to lengthen your tailbone more toward the ground and then come on up. As you come up this curve in your low back, this lordosis becomes huge. So you have to actively pull the belly in and lengthen your tailbone down a little bit to maintain the neutral curve in your back rather than just creating lots and lots of curve in your back. So you can hang out here or forward if you're on your back. You simply lift your hips up. So you can grab the sides of your mat, get the shoulders underneath you, and then press into your left foot and lift your hips up. Press the back of your head into the ground a little bit and try to drop your right knee a little bit as if there's a weight or a heavy rock attached to your right knee. So 2 really great options. Take about 3 more big breaths wherever you are. All right, let's go for the other side. So if you're on your back, do a happy baby dead bug. If you're on your front, try a down dog. And let's go for the left leg. Take your time. Make sure that left knee is a little wider than your shoulder and got a nice straight left ankle. Breathe deeply. Tighten up your right thigh if you're on your front side. And zip up your belly either direction. Make sure that your low back has the tiniest bit of neutral curve in it, which means if you're on your back, roll your tailbone toward the ground. If you're on your front, roll your tailbone toward the sky. Don't forget to breathe. Get about 4 or 5 more big breaths to go. All right, add in your back bend. But be very deliberate about it. Belly pulls in. Make sure that you're not over curving your low back. So you may have to lengthen your tailbone down a little bit, especially if you're on your front side. Blocks are always fun. Pull the front ribs in. If you're on your back, make sure that you're still flexing those left toes and press the back of your head against the ground a little bit. Take about 2 more big breaths. All right, so find a happy baby dead bug or a down dog. All right, let's go for inner thighs. So you're gonna put a block on either side of your mat. You can do this without blocks. This is definitely done without blocks. So I'll demonstrate the non-block way if you want, but this is a nice way. So block half on, half off the mat, knees on the edges of the blocks, come to your forearms, hang out here, nice big breaths. Shins can be parallel to the side of the mat, or if you're a little bit less flexible through the groin, bring your feet closer together. Big inhales and big exhales. So that's one option. Keep breathing there if you got blocks and you like that. The way I was taught before blocks were available to me is you flip out your mat on either side to give, it's just padding essentially. You're trying to give yourself a little extra padding. And then you'll go knee out, forearms to the ground. So same thing, it's just that knees tend to be a little bit tender, and even with that extra padding, sometimes you still feel a lot of pressure on the inside of the knee, but it's an option. So keep that in mind if you don't have blocks around. And then take your time here. So you want to tighten up your buttocks just a little bit, and you'll feel like those inner thighs get a little bit more support, essentially, as you slightly tighten up your buttocks. Try not to clench, though. And you can move a little bit. So I would just experiment with slightly going forward and backward. A little bit of, one of my teachers once said, think of your pelvis as like a stopwatch, maybe not a stopwatch, yeah, maybe a stopwatch. So like a watch though, and you're thinking about the hands going around on the watch. So you just do little tiny clockwise circles with your pelvis, and then tiny little counterclockwise circles with your pelvis. And that'll help kind of get into some of that groin muscle a little bit more. There are a lot of muscles that all come into the same spot in the groin, so it tends to be a super tight spot. And if you move a slight bit, you can find which muscles are tighter since they all connect at the same place. All right, slowly come out of this. You may want to bring your feet in first. Walk out, move your blocks. All right, we're gonna come into the quads a little bit. So come onto your belly, and then you're gonna grab the top of your right foot. If you have quadricep tightness or knees that don't bend a lot, you can put a strap around this right foot. So I start out with my left forearm on the ground, and then gently bring my right foot in toward my right hip and zip up my belly and try to pull my belly off the floor. Some of us at some point get a little fatigued through the left shoulder, and if that's the case, you can always come all the way down to your belly and extend that left arm out. So don't feel like you have to use that left shoulder continuously. You can always come down if it starts feeling a little annoyed. So breathe deeply, stretch your right knee toward the ground. So your thigh is like a seesaw here. You want to make sure your right knee is pressing down so the front or top of your right thigh bone is coming into the back of the hip socket and not rubbing up against the front of the hip socket. So belly in. So you can get that right shoulder onto your back a little bit more. All right, and let's go for the other side. Grab the top of your left foot, press your left heel toward your left hip, press your left knee toward the ground, zip up the belly and try to pull the belly off the floor. Roll that left shoulder onto your back. All right, so notice how tight your shoulders may feel. We're gonna go into a nice little shoulder opener here, and we're gonna come onto a seated posture that works for you. So you can sit back on your heels. Again, not everybody likes that. If that doesn't work for you, find a comfortable seated posture. We're gonna work into these shoulders a little bit more. So you're gonna take your left arm out, point the thumb down, bring the hand around, and you're gonna grab your hands behind your back, interlace them, and bring your fist around to the right side of your hip. So you're getting a shoulder stretch through that left shoulder. Keep breathing here. And then you can go for a little bit of a forward bend, but as you do your forward bend, roll that left shoulder onto your back more. Take about 3 more big breaths. All right, let's go for the other side. So you can keep the fist and just come around to the other side. Or if you feel like you need to do the whole setup for it, right arm out, thumb down, hand around, bring it around. So again, nice big breaths. And then maybe a little bit of a forward bend. Keep the broad collarbones. Keep rolling those shoulders onto your back. All right, and then let's use a strap for this one. So you're gonna take your, again, find a seated posture that works for you. You're gonna take your strap into your hands, and notice how my arms are out straight out, my arms are out to the sides a little bit. So clasping the strap, bending the elbows a little bit, and pull the strap down. I'm gonna change directions a little bit so you can see this, but try to pull the strap down behind your head. Down behind your head, and what will happen is your front ribs will pop forward, so pull the front ribs in. Pull out, pull the strap out, and gently draw the elbows down. And then drop your chin into your chest. And then lift your chin up and look up toward the sky. All right, next one, now drop your right elbow a little bit. So your left elbow is gonna lift up. It's just naturally gonna lift up as you drop your right elbow. So you're doing a little bit of a side stretch here. Don't forget to breathe. All right, come back up and drop your left elbow. Hands are still pulling away from each other. All right, and then release and take a moment and shake out your arms. And now we're gonna do camel posture, Ustrasana. So I like doing this with blocks because inner thighs are much more engaged. So you'll go medium width between your shins, or sorry, not shins, thighs. And then the very longest you can go between your ankles. So you're gonna squeeze your ankles into the block. Again, the block will be at its longest length. And then you're at your medium width between your legs, unless you have narrow hips, then you can go skinnier on the block. And then bring your hands to your hips, roll your shoulders onto your back, Pull the belly in, pull the front ribs in, and look up. And at first, we're just going to do quadriceps, which means I want your body to stay really straight here. You're just going to lean back, but with a straight body. So keep lifting your chest toward the sky. If you feel any back pain, any low back pain, lift your chest more. Push down into your hips more with your hands. All right. Now, let's try for a back bend. So you're going to bring your hands to your hips, roll your shoulders onto your back. You may want to flip your toes over so the balls of your feet are on the ground. Lift your chest, squeeze the blocks. Pretend you're a puppet. You've got two strings coming out of your collarbones, and you may even want to feel like there's a little lift under your shoulder blades. And then you can experiment a little bit. See if you can reach down and touch your right foot, your right heel. Don't forget to breathe. And then try the other side. All right, and then let's take a little breather. Come back, sit back on your block. Take a moment. If you feel like you did get a little bit of tightness creeping into your low back, a really great idea is just to walk forward here and get stretched out. All right, let's do a couple of bows, at least one bow. Let's do a bow where we kind of rock from side to side. That's a pretty difficult one because you're trying to find your oblique abdominals here. So come onto your belly. Again, you can always use straps around your feet, or you can grab one foot at a time. So grabbing both feet or one foot at a time, squeeze your legs together. That'll roll your shoulders onto your back. If you're going for one foot, extend. You're going to push. You're going to keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. So if you're pushing into your right foot, you're going to roll onto your left side. Same premise. If you have both feet in your hands, you're still pushing with your right foot, extending the right side, and rolling onto your left side. Keep your head off the ground if you make it onto your left side, and look over your right shoulder. And then see if you can get your toes to touch. All right, come back to the center. And let's go for the other side. So same thing. If you're extending, you're going to push left foot into left hand. It's going to roll you onto your right side. Otherwise, you're going to relax a little bit with your grip on the right side and keep pushing harder on your left side. And then head off the ground, look over your left shoulder, see if you can touch your toes. And come on out of that. Take a moment and rest. Make a little pillow with your hands and turn your head to one side. All right, now take a child's pose just to stretch out that spine a little bit more. I'm going to give you a couple options here. So from this place, you can either use the wall. If you have really tight shoulders, the wall is a great idea. And if you feel comfortable just popping up into a back bend, the main thing that I would say is come to the top of your head first. So I'm going to use my bookcase here and see how I have a 45-degree angle. So you can do this on your wall, putting your blocks at a 45-degree angle. What that means is that your shoulders don't have to go back so far into your back bend. You have a little bit more space to work with. And then do this incrementally. So your head goes down between the blocks. Fingers point down. You should be able to touch your heels lightly, one hand at a time. So you know that your ankles are roughly under your knees. And then you're going to push into a bridge. So this is the first stage always. making sure that you're in your legs, using your quadriceps here. We've done a lot of work to loosen them up. And then maybe see if you can get your upper back off the ground. That's the second stage. Third stage is top of the head. Fourth stage is pull your elbows in, pull your arm bones into your shoulder sockets, get your shoulders under your back. And then the next stage is see if you can push up. If you're really flexible in the shoulders, these blocks are not necessary. You can just bring your hands to the ground. Don't forget to breathe. And then take a break. If you're feeling a little tight in the low back, windshield wiper your legs from side to side. All right, let's do one more. So back bend of your choice. You can also do this on your belly if you would prefer to do a bow or a variation. So again, make sure you can touch your heels. They don't have to be super close. You just want your ankles roughly under your knees. Press into your feet. Get your hips up. Press into your hands. See if you can get your upper back up. That's working. Come to the top of your head. Pull your arm bones into your shoulder sockets and then come up. And it makes all the difference in the world. It means that your back bend doesn't look like this. It looks more like this with your arm bones securely in your shoulder sockets. Pull your arms away from the wall toward your legs. And you can play with this. If you're feeling really strong, you can take a leg up. Fun stuff like that. So wherever you are, breathe, have fun. All right, come on down. Take a moment and windshield wiper your legs from side to side. All right, make sure you're on your back. You're gonna hug your right leg, right thigh into your chest, just to get some nice extension through your spine. All right, little twist. Take your right arm out to the side. Bring your right hip over your left hip so you're stacking, rolling onto your outer left hip, outer left thigh. Look over your right shoulder. This is a really nice way to decompress the spine if it got a little tight in some spots. You're supposed to have this super long spine the whole time you're doing a back bend, but every once in a while you forget about a muscle, right? You forget to pull your belly in or your front ribs in and something gets a little bit compressed. So good way to just get everything back to a nice loose open place again. All right, come back to the center. Hug your left knee into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Extend your right leg. All right, take that left arm out the side, look over the left shoulder, and bring your leg across to the right side. Stick your tailbone out a little bit. Make sure there's a nice little curve in your low back. All right, and then unwind. Let's do a little happy baby dead bug, just to make sure everything's really happy in the back. So go from side to side. And you can extend your legs a little bit if you'd like to. All right, and then pick an inversion that you'd like to do. So if you feel pretty happy about where you are, you can just put your legs up. You can even turn around and put your legs up against the wall. You can also put a block under your hips. That feels really, really nice if you happen to have some tightness in the low back. And then I like to practice slightly stronger postures like handstand and forearm balance. Most of the time anyway. This is a tapas day, working a little harder on things. So another great thing is your dolphin pose, hanging out here. The block is simply there to keep your hands from sliding into the midline until your upper back muscles are super strong. So big breaths, chin up. But pick what you want to do. Decide if you want to put a lot of energy into your inversion or less energy into your inversion. We are at the end of our practice, so you need to listen to your body and see what it wants to do. And then as always, you can always walk up a wall. So since I'm close here, we'll do this on this side. Whether this is handstand or whether this is forearm balance, get close to a wall, and then you walk up. All right, so come on down and take a moment to find a place where you want to relax. You can relax in an inversion, like legs up against the wall. You can go into a shoulder opener. Another neat variation is blocks under your thighs. So you have a little bit, bottoms of the feet together. So you have a little bit of a hip opener here. And just take a moment and slow down the breath. Notice the breath coming in through the nostrils and the throat and the chest, and the belly rising as the breath coming in. And then as the breath goes out, follow it out the opposite direction. Belly drops, chest drops, goes out the throat, out of the nostrils. if you have time to stay in your Shavasana for a little bit longer, please do so. If you feel like you need to get up and get moving, then take a moment to wiggle the fingers and toes and roll your wrists and ankles in small circles. You can do a couple big stretches, take the arms over your head and your legs a little bit closer together. Stretch out and take some nice deep breaths. And whether you are ready to go and you're sitting up or whether you're lying down still, you can follow along mentally. Bring your hands up to your forehead for kind thoughts, down to your lips for kind words, and down to your heart center for kind intentions. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.